You know that feeling, right? When you're completely stuck, just endlessly researching some decision because you have to be 100% sure it's the perfect choice? Yeah, we've all been there. Well, in this explainer, we're going to talk about a really powerful way to break free from that paralysis. So let's just dive right in with the big question. Why is perfect, absolute certainty so hard to find? I mean, why is it so elusive and, often just a complete illusion? The answer, it turns out, could totally change how you make decisions from here on out. Look, it's just human nature to want guarantees, right? We all crave that feeling of knowing, for sure, that we've got it exactly right. But here's the twist. What if that very hunt for the perfect answer is actually the one thing that's holding you back? Okay, let's break this down with something super simple. If I asked you, what's a lion, you'd probably say something like, oh, it's a large carnivorous feline. And that sounds pretty clear, doesn't it? But is it a perfect definition? Because think about it, to truly define a lion with absolute perfect certainty, you'd have to list everything it isn't. I mean, a lion is not a duck, it's not a bicycle, it's not a cloud, it's not a planet. You'd literally have to compare it to everything else in the entire universe. It's an impossible task. It's absurd. And that right there, that's the heart of the problem. When we chase that perfect, complete understanding, we just get lost in all these endless details. We get stuck. There's a name for this. It's analysis paralysis, and it's what stops us dead in our tracks from ever moving forward. Okay, so how do we get out of this trap? Well, it starts by learning to tell the difference between what the source material calls root truths and branch truths. And let me tell you, this is the key to building a much, much more efficient way of thinking. All right, so let's look at this. On one side, you've got branch truths. These are the complicated, subjective details. Think of it like trying to find the single best food in a city by tasting every single dish. It's just too much. Then on the other side, you have root truths. These are the foundational, efficient, and trustworthy facts. They give you just enough solid information to act with confidence without getting totally lost. And this restaurant analogy really makes it crystal clear. You can't possibly taste every dish in the city. That's the analysis paralysis trap right there. But you can trust that health and safety certificate hanging on the wall. That certificate is your root truth. It's a simple, foundational fact that lets you make a good enough, confident choice so you can, finally just sit down and eat. Now, it's really important to get this straight. This isn't about being lazy or uninformed, not at all. It's about being effective. It's a strategy for actually making progress in a world where, let's be honest, you just can't know everything. It's all about using your time efficiently. Okay, that makes sense. We can trust a root truth. But how do we actually decide which ideas or beliefs get to be called a root truth? I mean, how do we measure what's trustworthy when there isn't a neat little certificate on the wall? Well, the source material offers a surprisingly practical and kind of brilliant yardstick: 100 years. Now, you might be thinking, 100 years? Why that number? Well, it's because that's a period longer than the typical human lifespan. I mean, just think about it for a second. An idea that has survived and stayed consistent for over a century has been through, well, everything. It's been tested against massive social change, technological revolutions, cultural shifts, the whole shebang. It has proven that it's resilient. Now, is it a 100% guarantee for the future? No, but it's a very reliable bet based on its proven track record. And look, I know what some of you might be thinking, but wait, things could totally change tomorrow. And you're right, they could. But here's the thing. Measuring belief isn't about trying to predict some unrealistic, unknowable future. It's about grounding our confidence in a real, proven past. It's about trusting a track record that has already withstood the test of time. Okay, so we've got our tools, root truths, and the 100-year rule. But what happens when you're facing not just a few options, but millions? How on earth do you find your way forward then without just getting completely overwhelmed? Just look at the sheer scale of the problem here. When you're making a huge decision, like choosing a career or where to live, it can feel like you have infinite options. But the reality? Most of that is just noise. It's irrelevant. It doesn't apply to you at all. The real trick is learning how to ignore that 99.9%. So your job isn't to analyze every single possibility out there. That's the old way, that's paralysis. The new goal is to find the direction where your choices start to converge, where they all start pointing the same way and narrow down into just a handful of strong, viable options. You filter out all the junk and you focus only on what's left. And this is what the source material calls the compass of convergence. It's such a great metaphor. You might not know the exact final destination, and that's okay. But the compass points you in a clear direction. It tells you which way to go next. It's all about finding the probable path forward, not the one single perfect pinpoint on a map.
All right, let's tie all of this together now. What we're really talking about here is a fundamental shift in your mindset. It's about finally letting go of that impossible standard of perfection and embracing something way more powerful and, frankly, more practical.
You see, the old way of thinking, it's a total trap. We hunt for that one perfect answer, we check every single little branch, and we end up completely paralyzed, going nowhere. This new approach, it's all about action. We look for a probable path, we learn to trust the foundational root truths, and then we move forward with confidence. So if you take just one thing away from all of this, let it be this. Stop chasing the ghost of perfect certainty. It doesn't exist. Instead, choose movement, choose progress. Find a probable, confident direction and just start walking. And that really leaves us with one final thought to chew on. In a world that's just overflowing with options and information, being able to find clarity, that's basically a superpower. So my question to you is, what principles, what root truths, what kind of compass are you going to use to find your confident direction?